And those who are, thank you for joining in once again. We'll just say a short prayer before we start. Holy Spirit, we just thank you. Thank you for the privilege, for the opportunity, even to just gather and have conversations that would help our lives and help us to grow better with you. I just ask Holy Spirit that you take charge of this conversation. And at the end, let your name be glorified in Jesus' name. Amen. So, yeah, thank you, everyone. Once again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to have an exciting time this morning. I can't wait. We're discussing a topic that is very, very interesting and one that I believe is important to begin to have with so much consciousness, even as Christians and as believers. Ladies now feel like men are badly behaved. And sometimes even we the men feel like some of our friends are badly behaved. But we're just going to have a conversation about chivalry, something that is not well spoken about in Christian communities, which is basically just how you treat women the right way, treating them, with respect, with love, with honor, and all of that. And I have, amazing panelists with me today, four beautiful ladies. Am I not blessed amongst women? So we'll be having, insights from these amazing ladies. We're fortunate to have one married person amongst us, so she can also give us a sprinkle of what chivalry means in marriage. And we also have three single people. So I'm just going to pass the mic to them to just introduce themselves before we commence.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Amina Osmansani.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Olubusayo Shofekun. Single.
Single.
Good morning. My name is Ayobami Bamishai. I'm also single for now.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Obiamaka Onyebum. I'm married.
All right, thank you very much once again. So we're streaming from the men's hangouts. We have a couple of men here. We started a retreat yesterday, which is what we do at the end of every cohort of the HTP, where men just, stay together, bond, learn how to be better men, and, just be men like God, men that lead with honor, and men that God can be proud of. Ladies, sorry, you don't have hangout yet, but yes, the Lord will provide. So we're having a congregation here, a couple of men who would also be joining in this conversation. So we're just really hoping to have an exciting time today. And this session might extend longer than usual, but we just really want to eat the meat, have the full grasp of what this conversation entails as we journey in life together, both as men and as women, so that the ladies also know what the expectation is or what the man's point of view is to some of these things, while we also understand what the women expect, because it almost feels like that's always the problem. Men, we're thinking logically, oh, I need to open the door for her. And ladies are like, you have to be a gentleman, So we just kind of find the middle ground this morning, even as we have a conversation. Okay, so the first thing I would like to ask is I'd like to, ask the beautiful ladies here, and I'd like them to share their experiences one after the other. What does chivalry mean to you? What, if you had to explain what the concept of chivalry is, what would you say chivalry means to you? So I'm going to start from, particular order. Let's hear from the married woman first.
Thank you. For me, chivalry means honor. And when you talk about honor, you're talking about acknowledging presence, respect, kindness. It means that I'm significant. You acknowledge that and you take it from there.
Very interesting indeed. Honor, respect. Men, are you jotting things down? Where are your notes? And your Thank you so much, Obiamaka. That's Their photographic memory. That's a point of view that is very important. Like she has said, I think what encapsulates all she has said is being seen, and being acknowledged, being honored, and being treated kindly. Thank you so much. Olubusayo, what does chivalry mean to you?
I think it means respect. And, when we think of chivalry, we think about opening the door, pulling out the seat for a lady and all of that. But I think it also goes beyond performance. It flows from a place of identity, right? So it's very easy for you to open the door for someone and also be brash. A man can open the door for you and just push you inside later. It's true. It's true. So you have to be kind. You need to respect um the lady, respect your partner, respect people generally.
Thank you very much. That's another interesting perspective that you can actually act in a kind way, but in your kindness, you still act wicked. Can you imagine? That's two sides of a coin. And I like that outlook because it also helps us to understand that beyond the act that you do, every other thing you do after it has to conform with what you just did. You can't open a door for her and then the next thing you are shouting at her. Can't you go inside? I've opened the door now. Can you not see that my hand is pinning me? So that kind of negates everything. And I really like the point of view that Olubusari has just said. It has to be consistent. So you do the chivalrous act, but you also need to ensure that every other act after that still points to kindness, respect, and honor. So it's not a one thing. Okay, I've done the mundane thing. I pull out the seat for you, but then I can't talk to you anyhow. So it's not adding up. So it's very important to ensure that is a holistic experience. That's also an interesting thought. So I'd like to go to Amina. Amina, what does chivalry mean to you?
For me, it's more like a Christ-centered, heart posture of humility and protection. Because if you see the way Jesus was with his disciples, he protected them and he was humble enough to wash their feet and, to just be there for them. So for me, it's like humility, being there, but knowing that I also have somebody as a protector as well. Thank you.
I've been waiting for the person that will bring the Christianese out. And, Amina just did that. She said it's being like Jesus. And every time I hear this thing, I'm like, bro, do you know what it takes to be like Jesus? So when you say, be like Jesus, honor and protect. Jesus is protecting all of us, but we'll do our best. But that also calls us to something higher. And I like how you put it, because everything we should do as men should be centered to being like Christ. So if Christ protected the church, even if you don't have bulletproofs, you have to find a way to protect your wife. And it doesn't necessarily mean, protection against external harm. Sometimes it's just making them feel safe, making them feel secure, making them feel that once you are there, nothing can happen to them. And that's a really good one that you said, just feeling secure, feeling safe, and just feeling respected. So yeah, thank you very much, Amina. So we'll go to Ayobami.
So the good thing about going last is that you can just say that they said it all and it'll be acceptable. But chivalry to me means service. It's and like everybody has said, like it's embedded in a place of kindness where you just anticipate that this person would probably need this thing, and you use your strength, your resources, your wit, your wisdom to just provide for that person. And like Amina said, Jesus served his disciples by washing their feet, and chivalry is service at the core of it. And being able to serve someone means that you're kind, you're reasonable enough to like think about or anticipate what their needs are, and regardless of if they can do it by themselves or not, being kind enough to offer it. So that's what chivalry means for me.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting thoughts. And from what Amina said and Ayobami and every other one of them, I can just say chivalry equals to act of service, because everything that we do that points to chivalry is actually an act of service. And like Ayobami said, she just, hit the nail on the head, doing something for them, not because they can't do it for themselves, but just offering to do it for them, offering to let them know that you're there to support. Yeah. And if there's really one thing that ladies like we all know, is to just live a soft life. The less they can do, the less they can have people do for them, the better for them. And that's how, in things where, for example, if you're with a partner that maybe when she was single, she used to turn on her gen by herself. But once you are together, maybe you are married, automatically it becomes your responsibility. They don't care if they know how to put on the gen. They just expect that as a man, you should be able to make their stress even less and do whatever it takes to make their life easier. So that's, a very interesting thought. And thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, because this also gives context to your thought process as women when it comes to what chivalry means. Like I said before, men is one way. We're logical. We just think it has to be 1+1 = 2. But getting to hear your thoughts, your diverse thoughts, also helps us to understand your own thought process, so we can find a way to meet your expectations and be able to wire our brains to also think in a way and a pattern that reciprocates what you expect from us. So thank you very much for sharing that. And I would like to, just go to the men. I'd like to ask a question, and I'd like a few men here to answer me. So for the men, what do you think are daily acts that you do that represent chivalry to a woman? What do you think are the daily acts that you do that represent chivalry to a woman? And I'd like, anyone that wants to talk, I'd like you to raise your hand. Anybody willing to share? Okay.
Okay. Hello, good morning, everyone. So if we go by the definition wonderful ladies have given us here of service and honor, for me, I say different things. I'm married and I have kids. So things like changing diapers. I change diapers a lot. I help my wife throw the bath water for our baby. I buy things a lot, even my leg, I go out to buy things. I cook. My wife will say that a lot of times. In fact, sometimes she says, your stew tastes better, please. Go ahead and cook, I think those are the major things I'll say I do.
Thank you very much for sharing, Harry. And for those of you that don't know, his name is Harry Potter, as in Harry Potter. That's his government name. It's not his nickname. That is the name his father, his mother, and their family gave birth to him with, Harry Potter. So nice to meet you. We've been teasing him since yesterday that we've not seen his wang, Just let him use it to do some magic for us. But that was so good, Harry Potter. And one thing that stood out with what Harry Potter said is it breaks the stereotype mindset. Those things you mentioned are things that traditional men will kick against. You are changing diapers for your wife. They put your head under. You don't know what you are doing. OTJ for you've eaten vegetable. How can you, a full grown man, be changing diapers? How can you be pouring away bath water? How can you be cooking? When you have a wife at home, you are the one cooking and she will sit down and eat. No, they've used juju for you. And that's just really interesting that as men, we are starting to realize that some of these things our parents and grandparents sold to us is actually a lie. Generally the idea of gender roles for me, I'm not fully a party to it. Like I always say, I think the best way is you and your wife, what chores do you enjoy doing? Which one do I enjoy doing? And we split it that way because it makes it easier. Because when you are doing the chore, you are enjoying it. You don't feel like you are being punished. But when you say, oh, the woman must do this, and she doesn't like doing those things, it just feels like every day she's being tortured. And I like how you are helping your wife to go and buy stuff, to change diapers. And I feel like your wife will be really, really happy because that's one form of chivalry that is not common. We're used to opening doors, we're used to pulling out the seats, we're used to doing all of that stuff. But are we really used to changing diapers? Are we really used to, cooking for our wives and people that we love? So thank you very much, Harry Potter, for sharing. Who else would like to share? You want to ask a question? Okay.
So since this is a conversation, right? Where do you draw the line between co-parenting and actually acts of service for your wife? Because when you say you bath the baby, you change diapers, I would have classified that as co-parenting. But what's now the service for her and then things that you do as a dad? That's my question.
Okay, so
Daniel, so when we
hello. Okay, so yeah, so co-parenting, okay, changing diapers, yeah, throwing out the bathwater. You say what acts of service to my wife? I already mentioned, so I do cook for her, right? I go out and get stuff for the house. So I won't say opening doors. Well, do we go out much? Maybe on Sundays, but then she tends to go out with the kids. I lock the door. So it's not I lock the door. That's my own contribution. So what else? Well, I don't she has a washing machine, so she does that. I'm not I don't do washing. I'm also not good with like what he was saying. So what are the chores each person likes? I don't like washing plates. Sweeping, I do that once in a while. So what other acts of service do I do for her? Well, I can't think of what I've said what I do, right? So generally I do try to just make things easier. For some weeks, I remember every time when she's getting ready to go to church, and that's when I'm taking out the trash because I just said I don't like to come back to the house smelling because of trash. And you can imagine when you have baby's diapers in your bin, and then you come back and meet that. So while she's having a bath and get ready, I'm throwing all of that and all that. So yeah, so basically that's what I do. I don't know how you want to classify it, but that's it for me.
I guess the reason why I'd asked the question was just to like push everybody to think about what they're actually doing in terms of service to their partners. Because sometimes we classify these things that are things they're supposed to be doing, but because men are wired to just provide, bring in the money, they don't realize that it'll be good to do these things together. You would even bond with your wife or your partner when you do these things together. So I just wanted you to think about it. I was not looking for an answer, but I'm glad that yes, because I wanted you to think about it, but I'm glad that you're now thinking about it. Like, what am I actually doing for this woman versus how we co-parenting?
If you don't mind, I think I would like the married person to respond to that for me, what she thinks about.
I mean, I'll respond. But did you guys get something now? Are you people learning? Ayobami said, I have a question for you. Next thing, I didn't want an answer. I was just telling you, I'm like, hey, help me. Yeah.
I understood the reflective part of her question because when she threw it up there, I was nearly able to dissect the answers he had given. So so that's actually I understand when she said she wasn't looking out for a particular answer. It was more like I want you to reflect and know that okay, these things I'm doing, I'm actually doing it as a parent, but what do I do for my wife?
Check.
Okay, when you're taking care of your baby, you're a father, you take care of your baby. But yes, but when you say, oh, can I help you iron your clothes? You're serving your wife, you're making her life easier. You're doing something for your wife. When you think about your wife and like, oh, how do I make her life easier? How do I, not what you're doing for the children, what are you doing for her? When you drop money for housekeeping, that is money for housekeeping. When you say, oh, take this money, go do your hair, you're giving money to your wife. They are two different things.
That's so good. So Amina will talk, but before she talks, now I'm getting something. So whatever you're doing for your child, you're doing your responsibility as a father. That's not chivalry. Then what you do specifically for your wife is what actually that's something really to think about. Because if you realize when you said all of those things, I felt like, you're doing well, my guy. But you could see the way the women received it. That's your responsibility as a father. Well, you're doing it for your child, not for me. So that's a different perspective. So now we know the line between we're doing something for our kids and I'm doing something for my wife. That's so good. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Amina, you wanted to say something?
Yes. So for me, chivalry goes beyond acts of service. Because everything I heard you say, I'm doing this for her, I'm cooking, I'm that. It goes beyond that. For me, chivalry is more about you, the person. It's about me understanding your mindset. It's about me understanding, do you respect me enough to be your partner? Do you get? It's about me seeing that honor from you. Like, okay, yes, he honors me enough to know that my as a woman, I want a partner that understands. Understanding is different from love. It's easy to say, oh, I love her and I'm able to do this and do that. No. But when you understand me, you can speak my love language. When you understand me and we are out there, you are able to honor me and put me first and allow me shine. So to me, men should just think beyond, oh, I'm opening the door, I'm putting money down, I'm doing all of that. Understand your partner, know how to love her, and the home will be good. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Amina. It gets deeper and we are learning more. It gets deeper and we're learning more. Now, we thought, oh, it's just the act of service. But now they are saying, understanding me is part of chivalry, letting me shine. Hope you people are taking notes. So what you are gaining here is enough to write a 7 ways to a prosperous marriage in the future, because these are actually gems. These are actually things that we don't seem to hear often. Because now I'm hearing, oh, open door for me. I'm hearing also, just understand me. Just know what I like. Just make me feel loved. I'm also hearing, anything you do for your child, that's for your child, though. But whatever I do for me is my own. And these are perspectives that help us as men to have a holistic understanding of the thought processes of ladies and know how they actually want to be treated. Bishop has a question, so can you please give Bishop a mic?
First, all right. So I'm not. So it's a bishop now, so we should understand. Okay, so it's not a question; it's a contribution. And one of the things about chivalry is that chivalry is not an action. Chivalry is a state of being. And once you understand that, you realize that the more you grow in marriage, the more the expressions of your chivalry, the more it will change. It graduates over time.
Check.
Understanding does not happen, it happens gradually. It doesn't happen instantly. The more you grow with somebody, the more you understand them. And you can't understand your woman in a day, not even in 5 years, not even in 10 years. As a matter of fact, the more you grow, the more confusing it becomes sometimes because you are discovering things about the other person So you see, that's why if you take on chivalry as an action or these are the set of things I must do, then you are missing the point of chivalry. In the African context, chivalry is protecting your wife from the influence of your family. Helping your wife not to face the indignities that comes with a typical African family and the interference they bring into marriage is chivalry. You protect your woman. So my wife knows I can die for her in a heartbeat. That is chivalry. She doesn't need me to, if I don't open doors or anything, she knows that this man will put his life on the line and take a bullet for me. She understands that 100%, and she doesn't have a doubt about it. That is chivalry. She knows what you bring. She knows what you can do. She knows how you are. And you communicate it in different ways in different seasons, depending on the part of life you are. Take Harry Potter, for instance, now, because of what he's going through at the moment and all that, there are some things he's not able to do. So if you take chivalry as an action, he's not able to do those things. So he has to communicate his chivalry in a different way at this season of his life to his wife. Most important is that there are a lot of things that he would have done that are actions. The wife would gladly do them for him now because he's unable to do most of them. And she would not have any thought at the back of her mind that this guy is not taking care of me. She's even happy that I'm glad he's alive. So we must understand that we must go from this mindset of, it's a set of actions that must be taken to a place where we must understand that it's a being. You communicate it in different ways over time, and it is a state of who you are in that time. I hope that has been helpful.
Thank you very much, Bishop, for sharing. Like I said, we are getting, different points of views. So now it's gone beyond service. Bishop said it's who you are. It's like your being, meaning you live it out daily. You don't do it as something that you are giving your wife. You live it out. And if you are able to make your wife feel that, yes, I am for you, and make their lives easier, then you are also, doing chivalry. Thank you very much, Bishop, for sharing. Does anyone online, does anyone online want to share something so we don't just keep them out of the conversation? Does anyone online?
We have some comments on
Any thoughts?
Can you hear us?
Okay. While I'll wait for them, Obiamaka.
So I would like to build on what Bishop said. Okay. I grew up in the East, and while I was growing in the house, before I went into the society, I knew that a woman was important. Okay, because I have 5 sisters. So my mother taught us that as a woman, you're relevant or important. But in the society, when we went out, like when we became teenagers, we had to go to university. The men treat you like you're a second option. I want to give an instance. I was coming back from school one time from university. I had to board a bus. I came to the bus early and I chose my preferred seats. And the driver goes like, you can't sit there. Why? Because you're a woman. I'm like, how does my being a woman stop me from sitting here? Okay. So I started having that feeling that a woman was supposed to be like second place. You're not supposed to be heard, a lot of things. And I made up my mind that, okay, if I was going to get married and some other things I saw at home, I was going to go for someone that respected me. And for me, that was key. Now, how do you interpret respect? For different people, it might mean different things. But looking back now, that respect was what we call chivalry. And I wanted to be in a home where my opinions counted, where I could speak and be heard, where I wasn't talked down on. I don't want you to raise your voice talking to me, even if you're upset. So if you're going to raise your voice and talk to me, then I won't have that conversation. Okay, so there were things that really mattered. And when it was time to get married, I had to trust God because you don't know someone completely. And I thank God I was able to guide me into making that decision. But I must say that over time, having been married for about 14 years now, over time, there has been an evolution. The way you start out, like you said, as the years go by, there's progress, there's more. The man gets to understand you more, you get to understand him more. And the chivalry is more like a disposition towards the woman, okay? When she's there, how do you acknowledge her? How do you treat her? When you're outside with your family members, what are the actions that show that, oh, this person is important, this person counts, this person is relevant?
Thank you very much for sharing, Obiamaka. So now and you get to understand the person in marriage as you go on. But for those of us who are single, yes, we'll get married and we are taking notes for how to act in marriage. But for those of us who are single, what does it look like for you? If someone is trying to woo you, if someone is trying to toast you, what are the elements you look out for to see if this man would actually treat you right or not? You pass the mic like that?
Okay, so I'm going to share a personal experience. About 3 or 4 years ago, I was talking to someone. Well, I was talking to two people anyway.
2 people at a time.
Well,
Are you doing any
we
mini
were-
man? Stop. Okay.
to make a decision, right? And there was this person, a Yoruba person. So my name is Olubusayo Shofekon. I've heard different versions of my surname because people struggle to pronounce my surname. And I don't even try to correct people again. But I was meeting someone that was talking to me and telling me, oh, yeah, let's be in a relationship and stuff. And he did not pronounce my surname well. Normally, I would not even correct you, but I just felt the need to correct this person. I was not prepared for the response I got. I just heard, you know what? It's no matter anyway because you will take my last name.
Allah.
And I'm like, what? I mean, some ladies would feel like, just like, no, 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 no. I mean, I don't have the sense that I have now. Then I did not have it back then, but I just knew that this is a red flag. You don't tell me that. At that point, I wasn't even thinking about my identity. I was just thinking that this one will come into my father's house and tell my father, shut up, or we'll get married and say, you can't go back to your father's house again. That was how I felt. And then I was also comparing with this other person I was talking to that was not Yoruba and was putting in the effort to pronounce my surname. And I could see the intentionality. So one person was like, what the person was communicating to me was, when you come into my house, it is whatever I say, whatever I do, you take it that way. The other person was like, okay, I see you. I'm trying to understand you. So as a single person, you don't want to go in blind. There are some things that would look like prospects, but you need to use your common sense. So when someone is telling you that I'm going to marry you, forget the marriage. Yes, we all desire marriage, but it is not about the marriage that the person is communicating right now. It is about how the person is going to treat you in that marriage.
Thank you very much for sharing, Olupusaya. So for the guys, those of us that don't have wives yet, so if you are toasting a babe, it starts from the name. Oh. If you need to go and take lessons on how to pronounce the surname, go and take lessons. Oh. And she has also said something that is very important. As men, sometimes we think we say things that, makes them feel assured. I think that's the word. Maybe in his head, saying that to make her know I want to marry her. But that was a turn off for her because she felt like, oh, are you saying once I marry you, my father's surname, lineage, everything in the dustbin, So some of the things we say, especially for the men that we think we are trying to use to get star, is actually digging a ditch for us. And that was something so simple like pronouncing the name. So I think it's very important to pay attention to the little details. So Amina, you won't run away about me. The single ladies, all of you must tell us, those things that you expect from us as those of us that, are trying to enter into a relationship.
Okay, so like I said earlier, it's more about the man, his mindset, trying to understand who he is. So it's not really in toasting, but in understanding some certain, type of guides. So a friend of ours was getting married in Uganda. He was getting married to a Ugandan girl. So it means that all of us had to go to Uganda for that wedding. So we were 4 ladies from Nigeria and about give or take, let's say 10 ladies from the UK. And we all arrived. So the guys had arrived like a day or two before we, the ladies. So when we arrived, the fellow Nigerian boys that knew us in Nigeria did not even do as if they knew us anymore because they saw UK girls who were fellow Nigerians. It took our friend's chef to settle us in, like show us our apartment, always coming to tell us, oh, food is ready, or telling us, oh, the bus is ready for the tour or for, going out. And the other Nigerian guys, they did not even help us in any way. And I was just like, I don't get this. Like, we're even fellow blacks. There's no Igbo woman here that may say maybe they are shaking for no Igbo woman, So as God will have it, I think a day after the wedding, everyone from the UK left. But we in Nigeria, we already knew that we're going to go see Lake Victoria. We're going to the local market to get some art and craft and all of that. And tell me why these boys will not start talking up to us, start talking to us like, hello, were we invisible when, so it's more about you, the person. So I'll be stupid if I start talking to that guy and have a conversation or dating. It means that he will treat me like trash when he finds the next best treasure, So for me, it's just about your mindset. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing. You can have so. Thank you very much for sharing. And this is also important because even before we get to the point of, even beyond the people we are trying to do romance with, trying to date, chivalry also transcends to just our friends, even people we don't know before. And, that's what I hear from what she's saying, it's not just someone you are trying to get married to or be in a relationship with that you should show respect or make feel seen. I mean, maybe Amina and her friends were not even interested in any of the guys, but the way they acted made them feel like you people are not important to us. And that is bad behavior, really. Let's call it what it is. That is bad behavior. So we are also learning that this transcends beyond, oh, I want to be with this babe. It's also how we treat our sisters, our friends, our colleagues at work, even people that we've never met or seen before. Little acts that make women, when a world, thank God things are changing. We used to be in a world where they made women feel, like Obiamaka said, feel like a secondary human. So it is in our place as men, even when we go out daily, to people we don't even know, ladies we don't even know, to make them feel honored and respected. Opening door does not always have to be for a baby you're trying to check alone. If you see a lady, you are going somewhere together, you can open the door for her. That's also, that means it is natural. It's no longer an activity that you are doing because, oh, I want to this babe. So she go no say, I'll be better guy, So that's what I hear Amina say. Beyond the people beyond the people you want to be with, chivalry is also something that should, extend beyond that to people we don't even know. Just being a man of honor, being a man that respects a woman and is willing to treat her right. So thank you very much, Amina. So, Ayobami.
So before I share personal experience, a few things, right? When I'm looking out for like the man that I want to be with, I want him to be kind, obviously, be a reasonable human being in general. And also something, if I'm not with this person, will I miss out on anything in life? If the answer is no, I don't know. There's no incentive to like be there. Because when two come together, they're supposed to chase 10,000. Like you're already chasing 1,000 and you're satisfied, and you now add somebody and then it's now becoming 500. That's a problem. But my personal experience that I want to share is of a guy that was also in a talking stage. I wasn't talking to people, by the way. I was only talking to him. So we're talking. I think we met at a laundromat or something. I don't remember. And then we followed each other on Instagram. And then it was like, oh, let's go out. I was like, oh yeah, sure. Let's do something on the weekend. My weekdays are packed. It was like, what do you feel like? I said, you know what, take initiative. Anything you say, I'm cool with it. Also, because I also wanted to see like if he could plan and things. And the reason is, I was also at a stage where like a lot of Lagos men would just want to take you out to like expensive restaurants, but like there was no experience. So I was like, you know what, plan something. Let's see what you like and let's go with it. So he says, let's go to Nikki Art Gallery. And I'm like, oh, fine, that works for me. I've been there a couple of times, but I can go again. It's not to look at art and not buy any let's go. So we go there, we have a good time, go to all the floors. It's talking about how like art is evoking emotions from his childhood. I'm listening, I'm taking notes, like, oh, okay, interesting stuff, and all of that. And then it was time to leave. He was like, "Oh, do you want to grab waffles?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's go and grab waffles." He said he knows a waffles place. I'm like, "Oh, let's go there." So we get outside, and I'm like, "Oh, did you drive?" Because my car is parked down there. He was like, "Oh no, he didn't drive." I was like, "Oh, that's my problem." Like, let's ride in my car. I will drive to the waffles place. So we drive to the waffles place. We eat. Then when we're done, it's like, "Do you know what would be nice? Let's go and take a walk on Eco Atlantic." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, let's go." Obviously, I'm the Uber driver at this point, right? First of all, before I continue the story, we listen, we don't judge. Thank you.
Oh, they will soon be back. Yes, like Olajuwon said, they will have to repeat the story for us. I've sent Pre a message. This network has no respect.
It's like 4 o'clock now, and I now text him. I'm like, "Oh, so what are we doing today?" He's then like, "Just come and pick me up from my house, and then we'll decide what we're doing." I'm like, "You know what? I won't be coming." And and it was not just like the principle of being an Uber driver in that situation. It was that this person was not like paying attention to things. I would never feel safe with this person. It will always be like, "Oh, everybody can take initiative, everybody can lead." And while leadership is good, I like partnerships where you can both like take turns to lead. Like my partner is bringing 0% today. I must bring my 100% because we must always be on 100. The days I bring 50, you can bring 50. We can all bring 100 together on certain days. But it just felt like he was going to be a low effort human being in general. And that's something like that was a red flag to me. Like I would not have felt safe to be with that kind of person. And that's what chivalry really is to me. It's like feeling safe with somebody, knowing that one day I can just decide that, oh, I don't want to do anything for myself today. And the person is just like, don't worry, you are sorted. Yeah, that's my experience.
Thank you so much. Ayobami will really be good for Nollywood, though. I'm already thinking, that story, we can add small Jara and do a movie. Pre is here. PU executive producer, we can put things together. Imagine, making a movie out of that. Because in my head, I'm already imagining, shape me the second day. You say, come and pick me. Come and pick me from. It's not even heavy in your mouth. You cannot even. How can you? How can you be that oblivious? It's just badly
Olumide,
behaved,
can
my
you
brother.
hear
Because
us?
how can you come and pick? I was just thinking, like, and you know why that was very. Yeah, there's a lot of chat. I'm checking them out. I would come up with them shortly. So one of the things that made me laugh when she was talking was you actually got what you wanted, right, about me. You said, "Oh, let him tell me. I want to see whether I'll be able to be. He'll come up with good ideas." That bro, it did well with the locations. That even me, I was like, bro's got vibes, man. You first go to where did you go first? You went first, no, before the Waffles place. They went Nikkei Art Gallery, then to Waffles, to go and walk. This guy has teaser, only to come and spoil it with carry me, carry me, carry me. So, another thing I hear there is, as a man, you can think, oh, you know, I'm a smooth boy now. I get vibes. But there's something else you are doing that is spoiling every other thing you are doing. Because my brother always say, "Come and pick me." That one off me. I didn't even know. I didn't even know how to feel with that, And that was really, really interesting. So we're just going to read some. The chat is actually buzzing, which makes us know that people are having a good time online. So I'm just going to read some of the comments that I see before we go ahead. And first of all, I mean, guys, can't you see how beautiful these ladies are? Everybody in the chat is hyping them up. Can't see go Busayo, boots, hot cake. I'm seeing now your bami is like a bag of dollars. I'm just seeing, someone even said, open your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. So my brothers, open your eyes. So those of you who are single, let me see. Anyway, so Ella also says in the chat that to everyone, standing up for an elder or someone who looks tired to sit is chivalry. And I agree. I will become so badly behaved that you are sitting and there's someone who is, someone who you see is tired, or a pregnant woman, or someone that is old. And you are, no offense to Gen Zs, but I'm like, sir, ma, can't you see that that person is pregnant or that person is old? But these are the little acts in our daily life that shows that we respect people. Now, even transcending beyond just ladies, because how is an old person, someone that is maybe 80, standing, and you are comfortable sitting down and, pressing phone and you're just feeling cool and all of that. So this is a very good point, valid point, Ella. Thank you for sharing. Then someone else, there's a lot of hype here. So everybody say, you look like this, you look like that. So ladies, you guys, we told you people to, in the email we sent to them, we said, dress well, because there'll be video, there'll be camera, and you people really did justice. I mean, please give them a round of applause again, Jare. Obiamaka, the Lord bless your husband and everything. But for the rest of them, they are single. So, Moya Keshio Junior. In Yoruba, that is maybe you open your eyes. Someone said, I will not sleep well tonight if I don't hear this story well. I'm sure that was Ayobabi's story. I already said that was like an epic Nollywood story. Someone said, I thought I was the only one kicked out. Our gist, though. Oh, so maybe there was a network problem at that time and they didn't. Yes, they were. That's what I can. Someone say, can we get summary? Another person say bye-bye to those low, no initiative people. Anyway, I think we are kicked out for a bit, but yeah, someone is taking notes. Take her to art gallery, go and eat waffles, take a walk, but don't tell her to come and pick you up. So guys, hope you are taking notes. So that's the date expo for some of you. If you've been thinking, I won't carry this babe, go next week. So waffles is a good idea. Walking in Eco Atlantic is a good idea. So I'll just Dr. Pemi says, I kid you not, people. There was one guy who always came to my office when I was single, invited me to a singles meeting in his church. That day was nice. He brought me a cake. Hours later, he said, he needs to pay the baker. But before I continue the story, is it where I think it's going that it's going? Let me repeat that line again. After he invited, for those of you that are not paying attention, he came to our office. He always comes to our office. He now said, okay, let's come for singles meeting. He now brought cake. He was a nice guy. And then hours later, I said, I need to pay the baker. We'll continue the story, but I hope it's not what we are thinking that is going to happen. He said he needs to pay the baker. She's in the church with us. Okay. He had gone to minister somewhere. He thought they would give him honorarium. Baba was banking on honorarium money to pay for the cake he bought. It's the Lord's work, his ministry. Okay. Brethren, we walked to look for the nearest ATM. And I paid for that cake. Bro. She said I ran for my life. She wrote that in capital letter. Wow. She said he's a huge relationship influencer on social media now. I hope his life has changed though, because what is he teaching people? That's such an epic story. I didn't even understand where that was going, but you get married to my brother. The first thing in my head is, who sent you message? If you don't have money for the cake, maybe you will not buy cake. You bought cake and you made her pay for it. Dr. Pe, they said, did you eat the cake? Please tell us so. Did you eat the cake? You and Ella are besties for a reason. Ella also put in the chat, did you eat the cake? Anyway, we'll go back to the chat. But thank you very much for engaging online. And we're having so much fun. So the next thing I'd like to ask is the men, just to also know what our thought process is. I'd like people to share experiences. What is one thing you did that you thought you were, being chivalrous, but it turned out to be maybe disrespectful, maybe it shall backfired. So I'd like people to share their experiences. One thing you thought you were doing and you thought you were being, a chivalrous person, but after, alas, you found out that you were just, you didn't do well at all. So I'd like Ants to go up and just share experiences with us. I think it'll be more interesting. Ayala, you're looking at me. You have something to share? No. Who? Ayala, they say you're not chivalrous. So there's nothing you've done. So all of you are 100 over 100. All the girls you've shown, none of it backfired. Please give him the mic.
No, Hi everyone. My name is Godwin. I'm married. I think
this again. You do like
I'm
this.
married. What I was trying to say was, guys generally in the process of wanting to be chivalrous, I don't think we can really have that much fails per se, because we know what the end game is. Our minds are always tuned to the end game. We know what we want. It is in the process of trying to scope the babe, that's when all the things can go bad. You get? I mean, to be chivalrous in the first place is you already know the person, you've already started getting to know the person anyways.
We've already determined that it's not about checking or knowing the person, that it is general, it is who you are. So go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. That's the idea. The thing is, again, because it's part of you, yeah, the things you're doing are not necessarily considered chivalrous per se. It is, so for guys, well, let me use myself as example. Let me not speak for everybody. In my mind, if I see someone, when I was in the world, anytime I see a new babe, anytime I see a babe I'm interested in, the things that I'm doing to get that girl to be interested are not considered chivalrous in my mind. They are just the things I'm doing to get her interested. That's what I'm saying. It is when I have now become friends, we've gone to a point where we're like, okay, we know each other and everything, then the things I now do are now the things that are considered chivalrous, because I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, hey, okay, let me give you a massage. You feel tired. Yes,
okay,
now.
You were in the world that time. Because I'm wondering, from checking to giving massage.
You already know. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It'll just be foot massage and stuff like that. It's just because, like, for example, she's tired. Stuff like that. She's tired. She's stressed. Naturally, you're like, okay, let me make you feel better. And then massage her feet. And that just does, that is you being intentional and trying to be chivalrous. That's because you've already gotten to the point. I'm done.
Thank you for sharing, Godwin. Okay, Bishop, go ahead.
Okay, so my experience, right? I remember back in the days of uni, one of the things I found out is that, well, maybe because of I don't know, there was a lot of foolishness back in the days, right? So a lot of us were growing up. were teenagers in our early 20s. So there was a lot of foolishness. One of the things I found out is that for a lot of girls, acts of chivalry are actually considered, they are looked down upon in the early days. Now, let me explain. A lot of babes look at you as a weak, because oftentimes, I mean, the time when I went to school, there were hard guys all around. They were the bowling guys. You probably didn't have the kind of money and the kind of expense and the kind of things that they had. So you're trying to make it or make up for it in other ways, just trying to be a nice person and all that. See, some girls don't like Mr. Nice Guy. You're just looking like dead to them. They are looking at you and say, okay, what's this one opening door and everything? Is it the opening of door that I want to eat and all that? So acts of chivalry actually made you look weak and stupid back in the days. I'm being serious. I drive. So and a lot of guys, right, at that time, of course, when we now got born again and it was now to fellowship sisters, they are a lot more receptive. No, it's like they are kinder about it. It's not like they are more receptive. They still also want the other things that they want, the good things of life too. But they are much more receptive. They're nice about the way they put you down, let you down easily, and like they like you, people, Nikki brother, tomorrow she left. You just become an umbrella brother. You just in the rain, you stand in the rain, you cover them with umbrella. You are being chivalrous to you, but you are like, I'm like, it's normal. But they look at you and say, what is this one? Where is this? You have assignment, you're trying to help them out with their own assignment. Like who sent you now? You do the assignment for them, they'll go out to somebody else. So at the end of the day, so those were wounds, right, that a lot of people carried. So I'm just saying this, that once.
Okay. So first of all, I agree to one of the definitions of chivalry, which is honor, right? And I think it first starts with honoring yourself and then honoring people around you. I would say that I have like some level of military training and all that. So by default, my mind is very stern. Approaches are stern and things like that. But there's a part of me also that pays attention to every little details. So I'm easily kind. Now, to answer the question that was asked, the fails that happens with being chivalrous is that sometimes you're chivalrous to someone or you're just being yourself, and that's just being respectful, being honoring, and then the girl thinks you like her. That's the fail. Like, I don't like you. I just respect myself. Oh, I mean, it's just nice. I'm just being nice. It does not mean that I don't like you like that. In fact, I can see for an example would be in my organization, I do this thing where if a new staff should come in, no matter who the staff is, I get you food. Like I welcome you.
Also,
I just welcome you with food, whether you're male or female. Like I take you out for lunch, and then everywhere I've walked. Now, if a girl should come, they will think. So I have to clear them. I'm like, see, no. I do this for everybody. So don't think you are special. It's just a normal thing I do. You pick the restaurant. I mean, in my environment, I can afford the restaurant in that environment. So you pick the restaurant, you pick the food, you pay for it. Does not mean that I like you. It's just a thing that I do for everybody. So the biggest fail that I say, and at the end of the day, if you do anyhow, I will change it for you right there and there. Yeah.
out of the window.
Yeah, straight. Yeah. So
this is common. Sorry. This is common with guys who have sisters. Yeah. He's around a lot of women. You have a lot of women in your family now, yeah? Or you grew up with a lot of women, cousins. I grew up with a lot of women. I have a lot of sisters, you do. So naturally, it is just normal for us to do things nice, to be nice to girls. You do that, and in this case, they think you like you. In my case, and some of them, I think I met too many feminists in my life. So every time you try to do nice things, it's the opposite reaction you get. And you're like, what's happening?
I mean, if you change it for me, if you try to misbehave while I'm being chivalrous or being nice to you, I will change it for you right there. I'll clear you. Like that's not the intent. I mean, I don't have to like you to be nice to you. Or it's like I was sitting down in the hospital and a man comes in. I mean, this man is clearly above 30, which means he's older than me. Right? It only makes sense. I've been sitting down for like the last 5, 10 minutes. I mean, it only makes sense. This man is coming from the sun. He's clearly going to be tired. Just stand up. It's not hard for me. I just stood up and I took a walk. Not like I needed the walk, but I knew that if I don't stand up, he won't see a seat. So in his mind, I'm standing up for him. And that's the idea. But I took a walk so that he can think I have gone. And then I came back. He was already sitting and he wanted to stand up. I was like, no, just enjoy yourself. It wasn't like I had to do something extra. It's just being wise or being honoring. That's it.
Thank you very much for sharing. Obiamaka and Abami wants to say something. This thing you brought up, we are going to have that conversation because it's a very important conversation to have. But I know once we start it, I want to get a few other men talk about what we're talking about now. Then we'll move on to that, which is, maybe an act you've done that you thought you were being chivalrous and it backfired. Then once we are done with that, I'll let Obiamaka and Ayobami talk. We'll just go into your conversation because that's because that's our own point of view as men. And we can't neglect that. That's also real. That's happening. So any other person here, any other person online too that wants to share about, especially males that want to share about some of the experiences, what they did that felt chivalrous, and then they found out that they did rubbish, really. So Ayala, go ahead. If anybody wants to speak in the chat, you can raise your hand.
Okay. Awesome. What's up now? You're trying to make me uncomfortable. So while he was speaking, he was speaking opposite to what I do, right? Yeah, I'm a very sincere person because I am kind. I know I can be good to people. And the fact that the moment I'm being kind to you, you start taking it for I'm liking you, I just withdraw, right? So I don't engage it any longer. Like I don't engage, especially to the opposite sex. I don't engage it because I don't have that energy to start telling you, no, I don't mean like this. So everywhere I find myself, they're always like, you are not kind. Come on, I don't want to be kind to you. And you get different. I'll now start explaining myself to you. It has always been like, if I start going out with you, yeah, you will see that kindness of sometimes I will just be blunt and say, come on, this is me. I'm not pretending, right? And I can say it has guided my heart for a while because I can say I'm a very emotional person too, right? Yeah. And once I start caring, hey, you'll be afraid. You will think as this guy is tending. Maybe because I didn't grow up we are all guys, right? We just only have one girl. And the moment the girl was about to like growing, I checked out. I went to school and I never returned home, right? So I don't have girls around me like that to start taking care of. You get. So that is just from my perspective because he said it was. My question to him is, come on, why are you doing that? You know that if you go ahead with this, continue, they will keep getting to see you as, in short, some of them will say that guy is a play guy. Do you get? He's a playboy. Like he will just play on your emotions and all of those things. Like, why give yourself that kind of stress? for me, from my own perspective, right? I might be wrong. I stand to be corrected. Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Hold
okay.
on.
So the answer to my own question is the question you asked me. Why do I keep doing it? First of all, I did not say I was doing it to one gender. Anybody that, as in you're a new staff in my team, anywhere, that is a one-time thing, right? It's just a culture thing that I've developed over time. I think it happened that one of my former bosses, when I started to work in the organization, took me out to lunch. So whenever somebody comes into the organization, I do the same. So it just became a culture thing that, oh, I'm honoring the person and just welcoming the person. I'm not trying to buy you favors or anything, just being there. So if you try to use that to say that, oh, I like you, the truth is everybody in the organization will tell you that's how it is. But after that, if you mess up the next 5 minutes, the military stern person comes back after that lunch. This is just food. That's all. So I'll clear you right there. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Quick
Awesome.
question.
Hold on, Godwin.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you for sharing. Awesome. And one thing I think we can also learn from what Awesome said is your act of chivalry can actually become a culture for others. You see how I didn't even know that he starting to buy food for people, that come into the organization was as a result of something that his boss did for him. So that's also an important thing because people are watching. We always say, especially as Christians, people are looking at us. So it means the way you act or, react towards people can also make other people begin to do same. So let's also look at it that our act of chivalry is not just for us. It can become a model for others, to begin to live in a certain type of way. So we still have a few more thoughts from the house. I think nobody has raised their hand in online. So is this, Godwin, is this conversation about this kindness or no kindness thing? Or you have a different question?
It was just a question,
Okay,
random
go ahead.
question, still related to the same thing. We just finished, on this side of the aisle, we just finished talking about how chivalry is more of a state of being. On your side of the aisle, it's more a thing you do. Am I correct? Both of them. Okay. This one is
okay. Imisilwa, go ahead.
All right. Morning, everyone. Okay, so this is in line with what he said. So I think the question now is, how do you create that balance, right? Because you're dealing with ladies and guys, and perspective matters a lot. So like, how do you create that balance in such a way that, you approach things for the ladies differently and for the guys differently? So I think that's, that's something
Great.
to look at.
Okay, so I'll have the ladies share. And before they share, I want to also share Awesome's perspective, because that is what we struggle with as men. The ladies say, oh, men are not kind. But the men also have a situation where you are being kind and everybody suddenly wants to date you because you are Mr. Nice Guy. And this is fact, I know many of us have had that experience. Sometimes I just do something for you, and the next thing I'm seeing moves of love. And I'm like, from where to where? As in how? I've even had a conversation where, because I bought someone a birthday gift, she thought I was interested in her. It took another of her friends to tell her, Olumide buys gifts for all his friends. So if you think he has a special interest in you, that's why he's buying you a gift then. But this is what we also face. So we would like you to let us know the balance. Now we are being chivalrous, we are being kind. And then ladies are taking it as, oh, it's giving green lights, or they are starting to like you, and you don't see them in that light. And it now becomes a burden for us. We are being kind, we are being chivalrous, but we are burdened as a response of that kindness. And now it's becoming a headache for us. So how do we balance it? We'd like to hear your view.
Okay.
Thank you. So I wanted to respond to what he said before you now asked the question. The thing about it is that chivalry is not common. If it was common, we would not be having this conversation. So if we had more men who were kind, women won't feel extra special when you're kind to them. But because a lot of the times we're treated like, oh, whatever. So when you now meet someone who is kind to you, like, oh, why is he being kind to me? You feel there's an ulterior motive. So I think from the get-go, let's all be champions of chivalry. Let's talk about it. Let's educate our fellow men. And as Christian brothers, let's be intentional. Now, going back to the Bible, when Jesus washed the disciples' feet, I think Peter protested because it's like, how are you doing this? They weren't used to the servant leadership model. They were used to their leaders lording it over them. And we saw some things that Jesus Christ did when he came to the house of Mary and Martha. He didn't want Martha running around cooking food. He wanted her presence. Okay, but by default, that's what women do. We're always busy everywhere, taking care of everyone. So if we had more people acting kind, being chivalrous, we'll get used to it. Now to the question on what to do when you're being misunderstood. Women get misunderstood too. I know I faced that a lot when I was, I'm still young, when I was younger, single, pretty, working very hard, getting promoted. Everyone thinks, oh, is she sleeping with the boss? Is she dating? It comes to us. But what do? You block the noise and you keep doing your thing and serving the Lord in all of it. So if you feel you're being misunderstood, you can find a subtle way to communicate your intentions, to show the person that, oh, this is who I am. I'm not doing this because I have ulterior motive. Now, if the person is liking you, you can't help it because emotions will run. But with time, she's going to see that, oh, you're not making any move. Another thing is to create a balance. For instance, if you say you're not interested in someone and you're always calling them, you're always texting, calling at odd hours, chatting, you've crossed the boundary. It's no more chivalry. You're leading the person on. So you should know where to draw the line. Be kind and move on. Be kind and move on. Can I give an example with PU? So when you meet PU for the first time, he treats you very well. You're like, oh my God, what's going on here? And because we're women, sorry, I have to be real. We come from the world where even in the church, we are not safe. Sorry, but that's the truth. We're not safe from pastor. They're not safe. We're not safe. I'm not going into details, but you meet PU and he treats you like, okay, who is he? And the next time, he doesn't even remember your name. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's just who he is. And there are things that have happened, around, and someone is like, oh, who is that man? Who is that man? I've had discussions that I won't go into here, and someone is thinking that, oh, this man is this, and the person sees that he is a man of God, true and true. He doesn't send you, and the person backs out. Do you understand? So if we had more men have that kind of disposition, nobody will think there are ulterior motives. Everybody will be plain and simple, and that would be life. So we have to keep trying to, live like that. Thank you.
There's actually nothing to add to that. Boundaries is it. But I wanted to ask something about people that are interpreting women's intentions or behavior or reactions as having a crush on you or liking you. Are you communicating as well? Are you asking those questions? Because she might also be kind. She might also just be kind and chivalrous back to you. Is she specifically saying, oh, awesome, I like you, let's go out, let's date? But if she's not saying it, you cannot assume it. I'm just saying. So those are conversations to also have, in addition to having like really strict boundaries, like not going to or having phone calls at 2 a.m. and saying that she will not fall in love with you. She will. All right.
Sit down, please.
Okay, so for me, and it's also to awesome, yeah. There was something you said that I picked on. You said when the woman now begins to do another thing, you change it for her. That's not yes, we're still speaking when, if, you change it for, that's not being chivalrous, because if you are practicing chivalry, right? Remember, it's honor, it's humility, it's protection, it's self-service. and it's being selfless. So in doing all of that, you have to communicate to the person, just like Ayobami said, like, oh, that's not the intention. I'm just being nice. But you're now changing it for her. What are you communicating? Right? So I think you need to go back to your boardroom and,
Not being rude to the person. I'm just clearing up the air. Changing it for the person is pidgin English. Just in English language, you're clearing up the air, making it clear that, yeah. So that's the point.
You said military mindset.
Yeah, but I mean, have you met a military person? They're not wicked or rude to civilians. They are not. Are you? They're not wicked. They're not wicked. They care. At the end of the day, they're human beings. They really do care. You meet somebody and you meet a military person's wife, you can do it. Most of them are very, caring and all that.
So what I was just trying to communicate is that chivalry is about you, the individual, and the experiences you give to the next person. That's just what I was just trying to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to ride on something that Obi had said. She said, we don't really have a lot of men that are kind. So I want to also bring in a perspective of, when young ladies are growing up, they will say, avoid men because of this and that. When they smile at you, they like you. So it's like something that is sort of embedded already for ladies growing up. If a man smiles at you, run because he's liking you. If a man looks at you this way, there's actually a need for the men to be kinder and for us to also change the narrative that a man smiling at you does not mean that he likes you. A man can just be kind, and there are actually examples to point at that, yes, we have kind men.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. And I like, how, okay, hold on. I like how, this conversation is going because we're now because that has always been a headache for me. I'm like, oh, are you sure I'll not just be on my own and just be doing my thing? Because of these 2 seconds, they're already forming, no, I like you, or God said you're my husband. And
sorry, I just have to ask, who are these ladies that you guys are meeting? Because I'm not sure any of us here are like that.
That's why we need to have women's hangouts.
I think we need to have women's hangouts, because we need to understand, the kind of ladies these men are meeting.
So, but this is actually real stuff. This is what we also go through from ladies in the church, where you're being kind and the next thing they're telling you, God said you're my husband, all of those stuff. But yeah, what we hear you say things that are important, like draw boundaries. And I think that's also something very important for the men. So you are being kind, but it's also important to draw the line. You can't be kind. You can't be kind and then you're calling the person every 2 days and you expect the person not to feel like, oh, there's something going on. You can't be kind and you are being extra in some things that you should not be extra in, except you are in some certain kind of relationship and not expect them to feel. So we hear you, at least now we know that, okay, if you are being kind, because for some people, they've actually stopped it, like Ayola said, they've actually stopped being kind to ladies because they felt like, not that stop being kind, but there boundaries. Yeah. So we're actually just learning that while you are being kind, draw boundaries. While you are being kind, don't do other things that will make them feel a type of way. And while you are being kind, communicate clearly from the beginning. Okay, when you start to sense it, oh, this thing I'm doing, is really just me. I'm just being kind. We have someone raised their hand online, and a person has run away. Who was it? Someone's hand was up online, but I can't see. Ijoma. Okay, Ijoma, yeah. Ijoma, you can unmute.
Olumide, can you hear us though?
Yes, but
Okay.
we can't hear
Ijema, you
Ijoma.
can unmute now.
Good morning, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Good morning, we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I raised my hand to just talk about the balance, but then when you started talking about it, I put my hands down. And what I just wanted to say is that if you are in the battlefield, the chances of being hit by a bullet is very possible. And if you are someone who you are a kind and nice person, the chances that you're going to be misunderstood is there, both in both sides. It's our duty to educate the people that we come across. I mean, like I would always say, not all relationships will end in marriage, but everyone who you have been in a relationship with, I'm saying if you can get into the relationship with the hopes of marriage and it doesn't end as marriage, let it be that there's something they take away from you. There's something that you changed about their mindset and all of those things. And if you are being a nice person, and just like we've mentioned already, once you have stated your boundaries, you cannot control how the next person feels. It's just the truth. But then all you can do is to educate them. Don't be like this. Don't think this way. Maybe it's just that encounter with you that will make them that the next time they see another guy being nice to them, they're not going to assume that the person is looking for something else. Maybe it's that encounter with you that will change their perspective about life. So we while we are trying to avoid being misunderstood and all of those things, we know that the world is changed by people who took the risk and says, oh, let's do what we have to do. Yes, we'll be misunderstood on both sides, both men, both women, but you know what your values are. Stick with your values. You can't let people determine what your values are. If your value, like I think it was I can't remember who, but someone dropped in the chat. I was saying that he was trying to talk to a lady, and she felt that he was showing off or trying to show that he has too much knowledge. And then, I mean, if he meets another girl tomorrow and he decides, oh, I'm not going to show the amount of knowledge that I have, then you're going to end up with someone who you don't have same values with. So we cannot take back our values. We can't stop being kind. We can't stop being nice because we are afraid of being misunderstood. Eventually, just filters off people who we're not supposed to be with, who don't share the same value systems with us. So what I'm saying is that we are exposed to these teachings, we are learning these things so that we can go out in the world and teach it better to people who do not have that knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for sharing, Ijoma. That was so good. We have Auntie Eme and then Dr. Pemi. Auntie Eme, you can unmute, please.
Okay, thank you very much. This teaching moment is very interesting, and it's good to listen to various opinions. I just want to talk when I thought I saw Chivalry, it was like, oh, like you think of a knight in shining armor running around, and it's like, okay, what's this conversation going to be like? And then my lecturer mind, I said, okay, let me check the definition. And part of it is that putting a high value on honor, kindness, and courage. And basically, that is what Christianity is about. That is what Christ modeled. And because we're in a society, or we are in a society that doesn't appreciate kindness, people, they think, okay, if you're kind or you're honoring, particularly to people that they feel that are lower than you, there's something in it for you. I'll give an example from like being a lecturer with students or training residents. You know, it's amazing that honoring the students, it makes them feel like this generation will say, feel seen. And really, what's our Christian testimony if we are behaving like the rest of the world is behaving? There's a particular time, I think we took the students, and I think I was head of department. And I just, we do the introductory. We try to make them feel comfortable because some of the other departments, they're very, very hard on them. So it was my birthday around that time. The students sent WhatsApp messages to me. I was like, where did you people get my number from? And it was because they felt that, oh, somebody actually paid attention to them. And just things like saying thank you and please and honoring people. I don't think we should think that that is strange. It's the other people that are strange. And as Christians, we're the light. You know, if you look at Jesus in the Bible, going around, like somebody mentioned about Martha and Mary. I mean, Mary could approach him and wash his, pour ointment on his feet. If it was somebody that was very stern, she wouldn't have been able to do that. So we are here to change culture. We are here to represent the kingdom culture. And the kingdom culture, it's a culture of love. It's a culture of kindness. It's a culture of, and even with our helps at home and the people that work with us, why should we be shouting and shouting at them as if, would we do that to people that we honor? It is a culture of honor. And I think the bottom line is chivalry is the culture of honor. And if we look at it, people talk about relationships and, men when they're courting or when they want a girl or a lady, they're very nice and everything. But go back to the Bible. It says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it. I mean, I think it's a challenge also on both sides as well, even for the women. But are we loving our husbands, loving their wives? Are they loving their sisters? Are they loving other people the way that Christ loved? The standard is Jesus Christ. And yes, chivalry is there with read books and stuff, but the bottom line, the standard is Jesus Christ. And we should model what we see. Like Paul says, follow me, imitate me as I imitate Christ. So we want to see more men and more women walking in honor, walking in courage, and lifting people up in high esteem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof, for sharing. Prof, for a reason. Thank you for those gems and words of knowledge that you have given us. Dr. Pemi, you want to share?
Thank you very much. Yes, I want to share. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. First of all, I want to thank Obi, Ayobami, Busayo, and Amina. You guys did an amazing work. And in fact, we could not have asked for a better panel. Thank you for standing up in such a short period of time. And I want to do an activation. So if you ladies don't mind, can you please stand up and let us just clap for all the men in the room? And then I'll tell you why. Let us just celebrate all the men in the room. We truly celebrate you guys.
Oh, no. Oh.
Your commitment to attending this retreat means that, like Auntie said, you are committed to the culture of the kingdom. And before the ladies go, you guys are going to celebrate them. But let me just go ahead with my comment. I do think that one of the things I put in the chat is that if we are the repairers of breaches, and that is who we are, right? And we know that there's something broken. Why we are having this discussion is because it's not a common phenomenon, right? It's supposed to be the normal thing. And like Awesome was saying, and I typed in the chat, if any man is awesome, you should go and check them out. They have been an object of a woman's love. It could be their mother, their sister, or even a friend that is a lady. And if any girl is a wholesome girl, she's whole, you can see, and she's like a complete package. She has been an object. There was a man that was right by her, which could have been a father, a brother, or a friend. Now, some of us didn't grow up that way. I didn't grow up with my dad, right? But I remember telling my sisters, and in retrospect, I think I was just wise, telling my sisters whenever they say, oh, I have a lot of male friends, and I told them that it's very healthy. Because if you have a lot of male friends that have sense, right, it helps you interact with men, and because we're in the fellowship setting. So Awesome, what you are doing is apparently the Lord's work. What you are doing is showing what chivalry should look like. Of course, I don't like the changing it part, but like you clear the hair, like you are clearing the hair for them and everything. But if all of us can, in a safe environment like PU does, show love, you will be surprised how much healing God has brought to people just because PU comes into the room and say, I'm sorry on behalf of the fathers. The same way we as ladies could actually be the ones molding and mending the heart of our men in places that have been broken, that they have not seen that softness and that motherly love or that sisterly love. And the same way women, if we see it as the Lord's mandate, the same way he said that go into the world and preach the salvation, showing people the kingdom of God is part of our mandate. It's not only being born again, but also, like I said, being rebuilders of paths that have been ruined. So this path has been ruined. God has called us to actually rebuild it. And the balance to that is that we will no longer be trying to protect ourselves overtly if somebody is misunderstanding us. We can then, like Amina say, in honor to them, even say, oh, PU says it every time. If I tell you that you are fine, you are beautiful, I have a wife, I am not trying to check you. Like, it says it every time. So there's a way we can honor, in honor, actually let clear the air without looking like, oh, you are being disrespectful, because you can then break people that are vulnerable towards that your kindness. It's because they have never seen it before. And then you can now undo everything that you have done in that one instance if you change it in code for them wrongly, right? So I want to celebrate all the men. I want to celebrate all the women. I just wanted to say that what we are doing is the Lord's work. We are rebuilding ancient ruins. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Opem. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to be reading some comments from the chat. The chat is actually so interesting. So first of all, you guys remember Dr. Opem's cake story, right? Yes. So people were asking her if she ate the cake. And she said that she took the cake home, but she cannot remember if she ate it. That it was in 2006. And she remembers the baker's name, Sister Ebai. You can see how scarred she was. She still remembers the name of the baker of the cake, and that's so interesting. Someone also talked about sorry. Yeah, I also hyping men, yeah. So men, be ready. Some people are saying that you are giving steez, that they like the way you are doing, and all of that. Oh yeah, Ayobami said we should give you guys another round of applause. Someone said chivalry isn't everything, no. To chivalry, add steez. Ella said I should add steez to our chivalry. Don't just do the chivalry anyhow, just straight on the ground and do that. I should add steez to it, I beg. And someone says, oh, never heard the word chivalry so often. Oh, that's why we're here, so that we can all, have a conversation and educate people more regarding this. Someone said, don't buy me envelope. Don't buy me flowers, or give me envelope. This is another discussion entirely. You know how you feel like, oh, the stereotype of all ladies love flowers, and you think, oh, buying her flowers is something that's good. And in her, she's like, brother, she has calculated one rose is 12.5. This bouquet, maybe like 250K. She, you know, have been better if this brother gave me this money, So different strokes for different folks. Ella is sharing, yeah.
Speaking your partner's love language. So there's a part where you feel like, and I've also heard people say, oh, there are things that I'm doing that you should be receptive to. But what if I don't receive love in that way? So maybe I want money and I don't want flowers. Maybe I want you to hear my voice and I don't want you to buy me the most expensive gifts, right? So while you are also carrying out all those acts of kindness and giving out gifts and stuff, you want to ensure that the person is receiving it in the right way.
Thank you so much for that. That's also an important point, because sometimes what you think you are giving is actually not what the person receives love with or as. So it's important to communicate. What's your love language? What do you, and this is really important, because we've seen men buy new cars for their babes and the babe is just like, all I want is quality time. Or this car, I don't care about it. But quality time first. Quality time first. But frankly, there are ladies that are not entirely moved by material things. They can even tell you, keep your car. Just spend time with me. I don't care about the car. It's not, yes, we have the stereotype that most ladies like, mundane things. But the truth is, there are ladies that can reject mundane things just for the things they really want. So, what?
Don't tell me to come and pick you.
I already said that as far as you don't tell her to come and pick you. So that's also important for men, you know. That's also important, you know, for the men. Actually understand how your woman wants to be loved. And I feel like this is also because for 90-95% of men, we think spending money or giving gifts is the greatest show of love. And ladies are letting us understand these days that, okay, you bought me a diamond earring. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. But I'd rather you help me with something. Act of service is my love language. So we also need to be aware as men to do the things that our ladies like rather than the things we think make good with them. So selling popcorn and drinks online. Ella, if you want to buy popcorn and drinks for this conversation, Ella is selling, so you can reach out to her online.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay. We just talked about being nice now, about guys being nice and also being able to educate women about that instead of sending them out. What about the opposite? You're nice and the woman or women look at you as a simp for being nice. Yes, simp.
Okay, ladies, over to you. Who wants to share?
Simp now. Simp.
Really valid question. So I'm sitting well because I want to hear the answers to this question. I hope everyone online heard the question. So he said that sometimes you are being nice and they see you as a simp. That's what it's, how do we manage that situation, ladies? You want to use question? Remember that maybe the question, maybe she doesn't want an answer.
So I think my question is very simple. Why are you nice? Are you nice because of how people receive it, or you're nice because that's your identity and that's what's expected of you as a child of God, and that's what Jesus mirrored? Why are you nice?
So again, like I mentioned earlier when he talked about what he said, when you no, I'm referring back to it, yeah. Because you grow up in the midst of women, you are predisposed to treat them in a certain way with all the love you can and everything. So because you do that to them, you simply do that to every other woman, which is normal to you. Then is other women take that as simping and they are like, take advantage of it. So it's already normal. You're protective, all of the normal things that you do for your sisters and everything. So yeah, that's the thing.
No, but very, very quickly, I would say that how people perceive your niceness should not be a determinant of if you remain nice or not. You're possibly not called to those people. Maybe they're supposed to be like people that you just see and like, hey, hi, bye. And then there's like your core team, like your core people, your inner circle that you can be extremely kind to, that you can donate your blood for. But like, just keep those boundaries with people that you know would interpret your niceness for you being a simp, or at the core of it, please don't stop being nice. Thank you.
Okay, so she's actually said it. I'll just say it in a different way, referring to Jesus. People had their opinions about him and he didn't care. More like he did what God sent him to do. Kindness is a fruit of the spirit, of the recreated human spirit. So you're kind because that is your nature. Now, when you say that they're taking advantage of you, I would have wanted to have an example, but we're also to be as wise as serpents and as gentle as doves. So like she said, you have your inner circle, people who don't appreciate what you brought to them. Jesus walked away. He said, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, that will not see me again. Okay, so focus on your inner circle and do what you need to do for people and be nice, be kind, and move on.
An example,
Please go ahead.
So there's this girl I was friends with. I had a lot of female friends also, friends with, and because I'm used to anytime, because I'm protective of my sisters, they want to go out and just do stuff. I drive them around, just fun, and I like driving. Well, I had a good car then. It was a really cool car. I just love driving. So same thing. Had this friend. Like, hey, you want to go somewhere? What's gonna make you? Hey, let me take you now. You know, all of that. Do all of the driving and all of that. Over time, sort of got to a point where it felt like you want me to start taking you everywhere. Like, I like, I know it costs money, you know, it cost my time, all of that. And then because I started throwing up some resistance, it became fights. I'm like, so
So you took a walk. End of story.
the usual thing, just ghost. That's the end. Ghost. Ghost.
I think it still applies to having boundaries, really.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't be an Uber driver for someone. That's not part of your calling. So
So just to quickly add, remember, like I said earlier, chivalry is about you. Do not let another person's action define who you are. That's who you are. You are nice. Even if they see you as a simp, like they said, balance, move on to the next person, you know. And the other, so chivalry is not even gender-based, right? It's for the both parties. So you just now understand that even this person is not being chivalrous, you know, and you just know where to draw the line. So don't ever look at yourself and say, oh, she's taking me as a simp. No, it's about who she is. That's whatever you are is what you give out, you know. So don't let it bother you.
Okay, thank you very much. Bishop, let's just read some of the comments in the chat. We'll get to Bishop. So there's a lot of interesting things happening on the chat. That's why Francis' hand is also up. Okay, Bishop Francis. But I just want to share what? You wanted to say something before? Okay. Anyway, let's just read some of the comments in the chat because it's really interesting there. Someone said, hold on, please, Francis. Hold on, Francis. So Ella is saying kindness is different from niceness. Please, Ella, put up your hand. When we are done with them, you explain that for us, because someone is saying kindness is different from that. And I think it's very important for us to clarify them. Someone also said, Frances said she thought chivalry was strictly Caucasian by nature. As far as she thought it's for white people. So she's listening and taking notes. Back to this story of cake. So Dr. Ope gave us a sequel, part 2. And she said, sorry, hold on. She said it's not a joke, that it happened to her in real life. She was working with GTB and he had to change her name to his next of kin. Thank God for my pastor who worked in the bank and told me, so you people are doing things like this. That's the same man, or the same man that bought cake and did not pay for it. Already put as his next of kin. I really don't know what he was looking for. Yeah, this is interesting. You said, if he's next of kin to collect all his money upon any eventuality, please let him put my name. But you're already investing now, since you are paying for cake already, Dr. Baby. You also have a right to some of his properties. If he has any, someone said that's a twist to the conversation. I didn't grow up around chivalry, so it was annoying to see weak brother. Now I don't know how I would have coped without chivalry. You know, someone is just saying how truly, because she didn't grow up that way, she started to see people as weak. I'll share a few more so we can have some people share. We'll start to wind down now. It's actually been a while. So Olajuwon said, for me, I'm big on imbibing knowledge and value. I believe that if you love someone, you need to educate them on things that interest the both of you. One time I was talking to this lady and she felt like I was trying to show off or do too much intellectually. Anyway, we'll just go on to okay, David's with Daniel, Bishop, then we'll go.
Okay, so you asked the question, you are asking the question of how
if you try to be show chivalry and more or less like it backfired. So that was when I wanted to answer. So I was in a relationship with someone about 2 or 3 years ago. And at that time I was doing my master's, I was working, and we were working on a project for her at the time. So I remember I think it was on a Monday morning, and she had sent me a message that she wasn't feeling too well. So I just sent in a moment, sorry, God, you are healed. I prayed for her, and I let it be because I was also working on my project. I was very busy. And so then I noticed that when she calls me, I'm doing something else. I'm always doing so. But she's looking like, are you here? And I'm always doing something else. So at the time, I remember I was doing something for her. So I was doing several things for her throughout that week. And I just realized that week she was just withdrawing. What's the problem? Nothing. What's the problem? Nothing. So I think it was like on a Friday, she had now come to meet me. She said she wanted to take ice cream. I reluctantly went because I didn't want to. But because she's always like, let's go take ice cream. So I went there. And then when I got there, after a little conversation, we took the ice cream, but I saw that her face wasn't so good. She left, and when I got home, she just sent me a long VN. And she was like, you are not caring, you are not this, you are not this thing, you're not concerned, you are not listening to me, you're not caring about how I feel and everything. And she started crying on the voice note. And honestly, at that time, it was as if I was not hearing the cry because I was like, do you understand what I've just been like? I'm writing my thesis. I'm helping you work on a project. She even needed some money to something. I had helped her with the money. Like, and it seems like you are bothered about the fact that I'm not smiling when we came to lick ice cream. And I think when I was calling you, I did not listen and everything. So when she said it, honestly, I didn't take it to heart. So I think like, let's say 6 months down the line, she created a whole scene, everything, everything got destroyed and everything. And then, so for some reason, I don't know, that day I just felt, she had sent me a message and I felt led to listen to the voice note again. And it was as if I was listening to it because I was like, first time I heard it, I didn't take note of what she was saying, maybe because of where I was. So I felt like when I was listening to that time, I really felt like she was really hurting and she wanted someone to listen to her. But me, I felt like I'm there for you. Like I'm waking up, applying this for you. And so I felt bad. I honestly felt bad, but I also felt like to listen, see me too now. I was under so much pressure. Do you understand? And I tried to apologize, just to even say, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't do this intentionally. But I think, that ticket I already casted at that point. But what I'm just saying is that sometimes it's like, even as a person, I was going through something, and I don't know, maybe that didn't allow me to be clear enough to see that she needed that. And then it just made the whole thing messed up. And it's like, I don't know, it feels like I took the fall, and then I didn't end up having to explain my own part to her and say, okay, this is how I felt and how things. So that's why I feel like at that time I wasn't showing chivalry, but I feel like partly I feel like I have a reason why.
Okay, Daniel, thank you for sharing. Bishop, so after Bishop Francis will speak online. Bishop.
All right. Thank you, Daniel, for sharing. I think that, as a rule of thumb, for those of us who are yet to get married, and one of the things you should not do in dating is, if you don't have time, don't date yet. If you can't make time, if you are in a space or you are at a time of your life where things are very constricted, sometimes it happens, and it's not because you were going for it. It just happens to you. You just find somebody that you bond with, and then both of you are constricted at that time, but the person sees your reality and they're not going to put an expectation on you because they know how they met you. But as a rule of thumb, if you don't have the time to create for dating, then don't date, just as an advice. Anyway, back to the things I want to say.
Don't give awesome another excuse though.
Back to what I want to say. Now, a lot of things that we've said today, right? There is a part of it that we're not taking into cognizance, and I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank God for the Revival School, for TRS, for this entire community, and how this community is putting all of us. The Bible says that He sets the solitary in families. How God is creating a community of people who would correct with sense, people who have corrected, people who have, God is bringing up, our identity is being restored. So we have a community of good people that we can belong to, we can talk to, we can interact, and we can have sense. We don't understand that this is something that's lacking generally in the world out there, and that a lot of people, they come from communities or from groups where they are a projection of their collective. Their thinking is a hive. They have a hive mentality. So the hive they came out from, they don't think well there. And so they are going to be a reflection of that consensus, that group think that they belong to. And therefore, whether it's a man or a woman, right? You are coming out of something. Some men grew up in parts of in communities where women are commodities to be used and discarded. In that, and it picks up a part of that, even though it now gets exposed to another way of life, it becomes born again, it gets to church. That part of his mindset has actually not been dealt with until later. I mean, when we go for mirror activation, a lot of some of those things are the things that come out that helps us to reset and have a soul reset for someone. So when we look at it, so there's so much to unbundle in relationships when we get across to people and we meet another person. And sometimes you actually might be seeing a portion of that person that's actually like a terrible part. But there may be good parts, like really, really good parts of them. I remember, I can't remember the meeting we were at. There was one meeting that we had that he was just telling us, told us a story of a lady and told us something about, and it was an unconventional story. And I'm sure that it was something that P himself would not have, have given his, but he told us that this was what happened with this lady and this was the kind of guy, and then they got married and then everything worked out. But it's not like that in all cases, because sometimes you will get yourself in a situation, you say like that, this person is like a diamond in the rough. If I put in the time, this person has glowing, they have other parts of their life that are glowing that I can, so you can. So I'm just saying that we need to also put that into cognizance when we are talking about things, because there's no one first rope, we want capsize fits all in all of these things. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Bishop, for sharing. Francis, can you quickly share so we can start to round up?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so one of the things that I've observed in recent times is everybody believes that they are the originator. We believe that we are the originator of our faith. Our faith started with us. Our culture in the kingdom started with us, and we always need to redefine it. That's really not how it operates. The Bible says that we are disciples. A disciple means that you begin to conform. Think Marjorie, you conform in behavior, in conduct. You begin to change, you begin to transform. So if you're constantly saying that you are constantly trying to turn situations to be like you versus changing to be more more like Christ, or being in a certain behavior. The challenge is not with the surrounding, the challenge is with you. If you show, so a gentleman, if my understanding of chivalry, a gentleman or a virtuous lady is someone that understands who they are and has invested so much in who they are that what they present to the world dictates a story. It preaches a gospel. When you meet a gentleman, one of the first things you will notice is the way he takes his own dressing seriously, his own behavior, his own conduct, the air around him. He manages his environment. That is what Jesus did. No matter the storm that came to Jesus, he had a conduct, he had a behavior. And so, regardless of what a prostitute rubbing his feet would mean in public, or a woman that was being about to be stoned running to him, Jesus had a presented place. He had a presented conduct. And the thing is, with many of us, we said we have written a Christianity, we've written a conduct according to ourselves that works for us. That's not what Christianity is. So when the Lord brings you into a place like TRS and He gives you mothers and fathers, He gives you people ahead of you, it is your responsibility to conform to natures, to conduct. I see a lot of men, even the way you dress is chivalry. Is chivalry also to conduct yourself in a certain way? Let's forget about who you're being kind to or who you're talking to. Is chivalry also for a lady to conduct herself in a certain way? Let's forget about the reaction you're going to get first. As a person, what are you exuding? What perfume are we encountering when we encounter you? I think that's what chivalry is. Till today, even though I miss my father's generation. Till today, if my father, if you're about to leave him, he has no money in his wallet. He'll put his hand on his pocket. He's looking for transport for you. It's not because you are poor. It's because that is what he does. That is his MO. And too many young men, too many ladies now believe that you don't need to be cultured, but the world should accept whatever you present. That's not correct. Be what you want the world to see. And so if I'm coming to your house, whether you're a house help or whether you're nobody else, I am going to bring something. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do 100% with me and who I am. So if I'm coming, I'm offering you lunch, I'm buying lunch for my whole team. It has nothing to do with how much I have in my pocket. It has to do with the atmosphere I want to create around myself. So be very intentional of understanding your identity and seeing how your identity is communicated in your environment. To me, that's chivalry. That's being virtuous. It's not being a saint. Anybody that will see a gentleman and think he's a saint should not be engaging the gentleman in the first place.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Frances, for. So, ladies, one last thought from each of you, then P will round up for us. So as you're thinking about it, I'll just slide through, some of the things in the chats that I also see. Ella said that while this is interesting, it's sad. Ella, Ayabami's bestie. While this is interesting, it's sad to see that there is a reality that some people may unfortunately not be used to receiving nice gestures. And when they do, they immediately interpret as romance. It's a call to shift the culture. Someone said maybe that's CMG, maybe our definition of kindness and what someone who likes us does should be reevaluated, because there is no way a person buying me food translates to liking me based on my thought process. Another person said, for us, awesome, for instance, start the launch with, I do this with everyone who comes into the organization. It's my way of making you feel welcome to the organization. By doing that, you've set the tone for making them not feel anything special. So awesome, that's a good thought for you. Someone said, if you cook food for me more than once, of course, I will misunderstand you. We got the talk, sis. What kind of kindness is this? He said, food and men, 5 and 6. You are now bringing food. Sister. And Francis is saying, please, it's not only single people in the church. You don't be afraid. I'm married already. Please be kind to me. As far as you not take it to the anyway. Someone said, love. Okay. Olajuwon said, love people how they want to be loved, not how you feel they should be loved. And Ella also said that I think there are 3 things: observe and understand what the person wants and how they want to be loved, ask how they want to be loved, and try some general acceptable, decent gestures. So I'd just like the women to give us in 30 seconds one thought to wrap this all up for us, and then P, you close up.
All right, thank you. For me, my last thought would be that Jesus is our standard when it comes to our conduct for men, for women. Says, men, love your wives as Christ loved the church. It's sacrificial. There's honor. What is love? Love is patience. Love is kind. You pay attention. You treat the person like you would want to be treated. First of all, it starts with knowing how do you want to be treated. So if you feel there are gaps in your life that you need to cover, please go ahead and cover it. And when those gaps are covered, you can go ahead and extend the same to not just your wife, but the women around you and everyone in your community. Thank you.
Thank you. In conclusion, I just wanted to say that vulnerability is actually strength and not weakness. And just to encourage everyone that said that they were kind in the past, but stop being kind, to continue to be kind, just like Christ was. Because what Christ did was elevate with his love and not diminish anyone. All the best with your kindness in this season.
Okay, so for me, I would say I would close off with chivalry is not dead. So saying chivalry is dead is saying that the fruit of the spirit is dead. It's like saying that do not be kind, don't have self-control, don't be patient. Chivalry is love, it is kindness, it is patience, it is self-control, it is gentleness. Thank you.
It is long suffering.
Okay, so my last words will be from Ephesians 5:25 to 28. It says, husband, love your wife, the highest good. I'm reading an amplified version. The highest good for her, and surround her with a caring, unselfish love, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself up for her, so that he might sanctify the church, having cleansed her by washing of water with the word of God, so that in turn he might present the church to himself in glorious splendor, without spot or wrinkles or any such things, but that she would be wholly set apart and blameless. Even so, husbands should and are morally obligated to love their wives as being in the sense their own bodies. He who loves his own wife loves himself. And so I'll just end by saying that your wife and your husband, vice versa, is a representative of who you are out there. So it is how you care for your partner that the world will also receive them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So P, you any last words as we close?
Hello, Mr. Mike.
Can we just put a huge round of applause for these ladies? For Obiamaka, for Ayobami, for Busaya, for Amina. Amazing ladies, amazing discussions. And the guys online as well. Very interesting questions, very, very good contributions as well from Auntie Emma, from Opemi, Frances, and Egium. They spoke so well. And I think the bottom line of all that's been talked about, it's very clear. Chivalry is just a niche of the fruit of the spirit, like Obiamaka talked about and Antieme. You know, there's love there, there's kindness, and I think Busaya alluded to that as well. We really do need to just live as Jesus lived and not want to try to be chivalrous, right? Let's just try to be like Jesus, and we will be chivalrous. Do you understand? So we're not trying to become nice. We are already nice. We are already kind. And like Antiema said in Ephesians 5:22, Jesus said, well, Paul wrote that scripture, but it's actually the Holy Spirit inspiring. So it's Jesus that's saying, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave his life. Gave his life. So when you're not prepared to give your life, you don't love your wife, period. Even if you're writing thesis.
Clock it, clock it.
No, really, it just shows to what extent are you willing to go for your wife. I can't say I'm 100% there. I've learned a lot being here as well. But we have to model what Christ is doing. And uh I like the way the generation of young ladies we have are beginning to demand what should come to them. But they shouldn't have to demand it. Frankly, they shouldn't have to demand it. If they have to demand, then it means they're exerting energy where they shouldn't. They should be, deploying energy to other uses of their time, which is to respect their husbands. Frankly, if we loved our wives the way we should, our women will respect us. And if our women respect us the way they should, we will love our wives. It's a two-way street. That's why God put that thing there. When you look at it, between a man and a woman, who loves the more? It's the woman, right? The lovey-dovey people. But who did God tell to love? The man. From a respect standpoint, who is more honoring and deferring and doing all that respect stuff? It's the man. Women are churches everywhere before you know they've insulted you. Right? But who did God tell to respect? The woman. He gave us opposite roles. God is wise. So chivalry comes from just having the fruit of the spirit, being kind, being gentle, being harsh. God forbid you go or you go play hands on your wife. That's not being gentle. Self-control, like Olumide talked about. They're working for you in the house, but you're managing it, and you're still kind to them, even if they are, I can't cook for you anymore. They're still, you just open it up for them. That's going to turn any woman back because nobody wants to lose that kind of nice person. Are you going to see that and run to a shack? You're not going to do that. So godly relationship is really key. Women shouldn't have to demand that. If they start demanding it, it means there's a death of it. Our parents, excuse me, never really modeled it. Some tried, but now as generations are improving, there's technology, we are seeing things more. It's becoming an issue how you treat a woman. It doesn't mean spending. My daughter, I bought her $1,000. She told me, Daddy, return it. I don't need it. So she's not into all of that. Even me, I'm beginning to navigate. What does Dara want? What does she know? And all that kind of stuff. So not all women are like that. When you give chivalry to a woman and she's surprised, that she calls you a simp, calls you a weak man, you don't need to get upset. You just know she's dealing with an orphan mindset. It's as simple. She's going to outgrow it. She's not there yet to receive love for love. A lot of people, like I've been reading in the charts, they've been battered and bruised, like Obiamaka talked about. Even in church, they've been battered. So seeing a different outlook on how things should be is a surprise to them. And they're very cautious. And because of how they've been hurt, we talked about this last night, guys, because of how women have been hurt, the Bible says they should guard their hearts. But they've ended up hardening their hearts because of the way we've treated them. That's not what Jesus calls them to do, to harden their hearts. But they have to protect themselves, and the Lord is saying, let me protect you. They said, no, I don't trust you, Lord. Let me protect myself. Let me harden my heart. So there's just a balancing that we need to have in all of this to see that God really wants each and every one of us to be treated right. And he really wants to make that happen. We've really run out of time. We'll be starting with the US, with North American group in a few minutes. So take a welcome. That's the man, by the way. Where is he? Godwin. That's the woman he sleeps with every night. Uh-huh. So when it not Taka. That's his wife. Oh. Remember I was saying us his mind. That's the girl that keeps him busy at night. Okay. Yeah. Welcome all of you. We celebrate everybody here. Ayobami, thank you for awesome. Thank you for all that. Looks as if there are quite a few people wearing New Balance sneakers. Awesome is wearing, Daniel is wearing, I've always wear New Balance. Maybe I'll go and buy New Balance too. So I can balance well. But I celebrate all of you. Thank you guys. Thank you for being here.
All right. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunity even together. Thank you for what we've learned. Thank you because you help us to be even better men, better women, and better people in general who model who you are to the world, irrespective of what we see around us. Thank you, God, for such an amazing session. And we ask that you continue to work with us and teach us in the way we should go. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. For those joining for the first time online, we do this every Saturday by 10 a.m. on Zoom and YouTube, so you can join us. Thank you very much, everyone.